What's your name?
Cyrus.
Cyrus, what up? Okay, how about you?
Victor, Bismarck, actually I just swapped one of the last years, so I'm just pulling up the system here.
Okay. You made such a big mistake, my friend. What's your name? Victor?
Victor Bismarck.
Bismarck.
Von Bismarck, yeah.
You write one also?
Sorry?
Victor Von Bismarck?
As one, you mean?
No, no. You said Von is the middle name.
Oh, no, it's just Victor Bismarck.
I think we're missing one person. Get started shortly. Please make sure to sign the attendance sheet. It's circulating around. Victor, can I please request you to because I'll walk you.
Oh, no, it's
Bismarck was one of the earliest people to try to unite Europe.
That's true, yes.
And there used to be an attempt to create the euro currency that Bismarck started, but that collapsed.
Oh, really?
So you are in the right class. Okay, we're waiting for Miles, and Miles is miles away. So let's do this. Let's get started. Welcome everyone. I know some of you. Actually, I know all of you. We'll find out shortly. But let's get introduced, starting with Victor. Okay. You can answer, go through these,
Yeah.
speak to us, share anything you want to.
So I'm Victor, and I'm from Germany. I did my undergraduate in economics, and then worked in a promotion company and an asset management company, and then at some point now decided to join this real estate master's program. I've completed core tier 1 and 2 courses, so that's why I've chosen the international path.
Where are you? Where in Germany are you from?
All the way up north, close to Hamburg. Yeah. And I'd like to sponge up as much as I can from this course from you, relating anything to do with real estate. And yeah, no real secrets about myself.
It's impossible. Have to be some secrets. Because you started, so will come back to it.
Okay,
Think
sounds
about
good,
it.
sounds
Austin.
good, sounds good.
My name is Austin. I'm from San Francisco, California. I did my undergrad at Amherst College. I graduated last May. Came straight into SHAC. So my work experience, especially in real estate, is pretty limited to just internships mostly. I've completed core tier 1 and tier 2. I've done a decent amount of financial modeling for my internships, but mostly just for acquisitions. So I'd like to get more development and construction model experience. And I'm taking the course because I'm very interested in development, and ultimately I'd like to be a developer, so I think this class is definitely relevant. I think I'd just like to learn more about sort of the construction development side.
Okay. Okay. What about the last bullet point?
Secret about myself.
Think about it. We'll come back to you because you're Alexander. Definitely, you have to answer the last question. You can start either from the top or from the bottom.
Alright, I don't know if I'll get to the bottom, but Alex de Montebello. I grew up in the south of France. I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, studied history, and I graduated in 2010, which was a problem on both ends. And so I kind of got into real estate as a broker because there's no barrier to entry. And then I wanted to get into on the equity side, on the investment side, so I started at SHAC. And I actually got the job I wanted right when I started. So I've been, at this point, I've run acquisitions for family office, co-investment platform. And I've taken this course, but I've completed all tier 1 and 2. I'm hoping to graduate in December. I'm actually also taking the capstone on Monday.
Yes, I saw that.
And I'm very much looking forward to it.
Okay.
I don't know
Excellent.
about a secret for now.
Sorry.
I don't know about a secret for now.
Come on. Nobody has a secret.
But there's a secret for a reason.
No, Maria definitely has a secret. Let's try.
All right.
We're gonna skip a secret. I'm Maria. I'm from New York City, but I was born in Romania and I grew up there. I studied economics, so BA MA in economics. I don't really have real estate experience, but I used to work for the city doing economic development and worked a lot with property taxes, so that's sort of how this interest started. I think that I finished the core tier 1 classes, I believe. And I'm taking this course because it looks very interesting. I got a sneak peek at the syllabus, and I like the way that it's structured, and I have a really good feeling about it. As for a secret, I don't know. I like pickled martinis. Is that a secret?
Good. Yes. Pickle martinis. Good. Good. Thank you, Maria. Nate.
Alright, my name is Nate. I'm from Toronto in Canada. I did my undergraduate in Canada as well in urban development, which is similar to this in one sense, but there wasn't a whole lot of finance involved in it, which is one of the major things I came to SHAC. It was very kind of planning and I guess local government oriented. I've done all the tier 1 courses and I have one course left in tier 2. Taking this course because it's partly because it's one of the requirements for my my concentration, but also because I took real estate finance with you, I joined that class and it looked interesting. In terms of what I'd like to achieve, I could build on the following. I learned in the real estate finance class a little bit more about, I guess, how to take that to the next step. Issues, topics kind of overlap with everyone else. Again, learning about the more advanced development of one of those secrets. It's not really a secret, but I'm one of 7 children.
You want 7 children.
One of 7 children.
Oh,
I don't
you
want
are one of
7
7,
children.
0 children. That inspires you to have 7 children. So good. Thank you, Nate. Brenda.
So my name is Brenda Cristiano. I'm originally from Peru. Now I live here. My background is in banking. I used to manage money for Latin American clients, private bank. I got into real estate because my father is a civil engineer back home, and we got involved in doing some of my family projects. And then I did the switch completely. Now I work for a small real estate investment firm in New Jersey, portfolio manager. This is my last term. I've taken 1 and 2 tier classes. Yeah, and it's, these classes are requirement. I'm a global concentration. Secret, I have the wrong birthday on my birth certificate.
Ah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Mr. Shi just came back from Peru. He just spent like how many days? A week? 10 days. He's like a calm person. I'm sure Peru has become calmer because of his
I'm sure.
presence in Peru.
Are you younger or older? I'm younger. Well, it's just for a week.
Thank you, Brenda. Cyrus?
Well, I'm Cyrus. I'm from California. My education, I studied civil engineering before this, and before I came to SHAC, I was doing project management on construction projects in Colorado and California. Came to the program full-time a year ago. So last summer I had an internship with a national private equity development firm focusing on land acquisitions and asset management. I have completed the Tier 1 and Tier 2 courses. I'm taking this course because I like to learn the kind of higher level nuances of intricate real estate transactions. What would I like to achieve a topic? Let's say I'm interested in distressed transactions. That would be interesting to me. And a secret about myself. I think on both sides of my family, cousins, extended, I'm the youngest of the generation. So
The baby of the generation. Oh, that's a good secret. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Cyrus. Cyrus is a Persian name.
yeah.
Huda is also Persian name, right? King Cyrus, the Great. Yeah, thank you. Alexander? How do you go by? Do you go by Alex? Or?
Yeah, Alex is fine.
Okay.
I'm Alexander Michelle, or Alex. I'm from Montreal, went to Concordia University there, graduated in urban planning. I work now part-time at a real estate investment firm doing opportunistic investments, mostly debt investments actually. Completed both, I believe, Tier 1 and Tier 2 courses, and taking this course because it was recommended to me actually, and I've heard great things, but I've never had it as a professor before, so looking forward to it.
Don't kill the guy who recommended you. By the time the course is
Cyrus.
over, you'll end up looking for him.
And I'm looking forward to just, I heard there was great case studies that you look at, and the syllabus sounded interesting, so looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you. How should I address you, Alex?
Alex, perfect, great, thanks.
Mr. Yu?
Hi everyone, my name is Yu Zhang. I come from China, and this is my second year in NYU. Third semester, and the third course with Professor Manish. I have no working experience before because I entered in this program after my graduation in UC Denver. I focused on economics in my undergraduate school, but I became more interested in urban affairs. So at the same time, I got my urban planning minor. I always want to find some economic principles that relate to the cities. So the real estate is one of the largest elements in cities, so that's why I chose the program. I have no financial background, but learned 2 courses with you. And why I choose this course because I'm a development track, a global real estate. So this is the requirements.
Good for you.
And I would like to figure out how to invest overseas real estate market, especially in East Asia, Japan, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and of course mainland China. From the perspective of the American, yeah. And I want to learn some quantitative method to figure out the risk and return in different areas in international real estate market. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yu. Mr. Chifeng?
Hi, my name is Qifeng. I'm also from China. I studied architecture for my undergraduate degree, and I have no work experience yet. I completed Tier 1 and Tier 2 classes because this is my third semester. I'm taking this course also because it's a requirement for a global competition, and I just want to learn more about global real estate development. And the secret is from my mother's family, I have 5 uncles and 5 aunts.
Wonderful. That was before the one-child policy.
Yeah.
That shows the potential of China to expand. But that potential is constrained. Thank you. Kevin?
I'm speaking for Kevin who lost his voice.
Oh, really? He just doesn't want to tell us his secret. Huh? Yes, sir.
I'm going to tell you a
Taylor, why don't
secret.
you
So, his name's Kevin Yuen from San Fran. He studied economics at Northwestern and worked at Franklin Templeton Investment for 6 years as a fixed income securities trader with a focus on distressed debt and restructuring of other companies. He finished most of Tier 2, and his goal is to one day build a ski resort community, but location is to be
Build what?
Pardon me?
Build what? His goal is to build what?
Ski resort. A ski resort.
Ski resort.
But location is to be determined. He hopes and flies helps. The secret is that he hates Game of Thrones, but loves Croatia.
Loves what?
Croatia.
Croatia. Where? Togir? Oh, okay, fine. Maybe we'll do a case study on Croatia. Taylor, why don't you go?
So my name's Taylor. I'm also from Montreal, like Alex. Third Canadian, I think, I guess. Tell you about that. I studied in Montreal in economics. Came pretty briefly to Shack after that, after holding some internships in real estate. One in investment, and then another one in consulting. And so I'm done Tier 1 and Tier 2. Feel pretty comfortable modeling, and taking this course to really get some exposure to more development. I haven't had too much yet, and look at situations of distress and debt investing. So that's kind of what my interests are, and what I want to see covered. Secret I still have to work on, still thinking about it.
Still thinking about it?
Yeah.
But I'll remember, I'll come back to you, don't worry. Carter?
Hi, my name's Carter Clark. I'm from Washington, D.C. originally. I went to Cornell for undergrad, graduated in 2015. After that, I worked at a bank, a private bank, on the lending side of the business. And that's where I got exposure to lending to private clients against the real estate assets. And I knew that I wanted to get closer to investment and development. So about a year ago, exactly a year ago, I started here at Shack. And alongside that, I've been working part-time for an owner-operator of real estate in Brooklyn. And from that experience, as I've gone along, I've recognized that I want to get more on the development side of the business. Right now, I've finished Tier 1, Tier 2, and doing asset management capstone. So I wanted to discuss to kind of get more exposure and development. And in particular, get a global perspective, because I feel like there's just a lot more that I can understand from that. I've taken Misha's other 3 classes and really enjoyed it, so that's another reason I'm here. And my secret, I don't know if this is particularly good, but it's the only one I can really think of, is that if you look on the Wall Street streetjournal.com right now. My uncle who lives in Charleston, South Carolina, is on the cover, a picture of him in the flag.
So why don't you share it with me? I'll share it with the class.
Okay.
Just email it to me, okay? Thank you, Carter.
Yeah.
Warren?
Hey everybody, my name is Warren, originally from Florida, South Florida, Palm Beach. I went to the University of Denver, so real estate major there. I have some work experience in construction management and brokerage, both commercial and residential here. I'm planning to graduate in December, taking this course because it came highly recommended from a professor and some other classmates.
From a professor?
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't me.
This for you.
uh,
And I'm just looking to get some more experience modeling, especially on the development and international side. The secret about me is I'm 6'8".
6'8". Cool. Very cool. Thank you, Warren. Anmol?
Hi everyone, I'm Anmol.
By the way, Anmol means priceless.
That's the secret.
Huh?
That's the secret.
That was the secret?
Yes, so I'm born and brought up in New Jersey. Family's from India and Malaysia. I graduated last year from Pace University. My background is
Studying what?
Business economics. I was doing property management throughout my college career. This summer I was interning for a small developer in Soho. I started the course in January of this year, so I'm between my second and third year. I'm not very familiar with real estate finance. The only experience I have is just the first class intro to real estate finance. The reason I'm taking this course is because it's part of the real estate development curriculum, and I heard that I have to take you before graduating.
Say that again?
I heard that I was advised to take you before graduating, at least for one class.
Because then you would never return to Shack. Good reason.
Yeah, so I want to definitely strengthen my financial modeling skills.
Okay. Thank you, Anmol. Kevin?
I'm Kevin Wilson from Detroit.
Kevin, in this class, we need people to have breakfast before they come to class. So we need more energy.
Sorry, yes.
Oh, you got it?
Was a little-
Okay,
yeah.
that's okay.
Kevin Wilson from Detroit, Michigan. Went to school at Michigan State, studied finance. Spent most of my career on the investment side at American Realty Capital and Ivy Realty, so real estate finance. And I'm now at 10X, which is a transactional technology company. I'm graduating end of this year. I'm taking this course because most of my investment experience has been in core plus, and I want to touch more on development and value add opportunities, more specifically distressed debt investments. And I also heard great things about yourself and was told to take you. And secret about myself, I used to play men's ice hockey with Anthony Lehman.
Just ice hockey, right?
Just ice hockey. While he was running for mayor. At that point, it was a good time.
Good, excellent. Anmol, what was your secret?
My name means prices.
Oh, no, come on. I told you a secret. That was not a secret. If I can figure it out, that's not a secret. Think about it. We'll come back to you. Mr. Shi.
Hi, my name is Shi. I come from China. I went to school in Canada, studied civil engineering. I don't have full-time work experience. I just have a couple interns in construction and investment. After graduation, I come to Shack directly. It looks like I took every classes with Professor Manish in this program, and he's trying to sell this course so hard in every single class. and he left so many topics to discuss in this class, so I just took this class.
Decided why not just take it?
Yeah.
Because those topics were more complicated for the earlier classes. That's why. What's the secret that we don't yet know?
Secret? Secret. If I tell, it's not secret.
Yeah.
It's fine. Thanks for Verizon. I don't have internet at home right now.
Oh, really?
That's secret.
Why is that?
Huh?
Why not?
Oh, I just moved home and it's like full book to install.
I see. Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Shi. Hugo.
My name is Hugo. I'm from Indonesia. I graduated in the University of Southern California in LA in 2015. I worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers in the M&A team in Indonesia for 2 years. And then I completed my Tier 1 and 2 courses in real estate finance. I'm taking this course because I want to build on the skills that I learned in the financial modeling class that we did together, but more on the development side. And secret that I have, my dad has 12 siblings, but I've only met 5 of them. So,
Really?
yeah.
That's very interesting. Why?
They live in
Different parts of the world.
different parts of Indonesia and the world, yeah.
That is like the Confucius family tree. Mr. What is that Confucius? Qigong? No? Mr. Shi? Mr. Yu? The Confucius family tree is spread across the world, so they get together once every year in the hometown of Confucius. I don't know why I know this, but somehow. Yes, Mr. Su.
Oh, hi. My name is Su. I'm a grad student, international from Beijing. I'm gonna graduate in December, so this is the other class besides Capstone. And I heard it's very rich, so I took this class. And also Professor Manish can always combine philosophy and real estate very well, so that's what I like. And so probably that's why when fishing before this class, I want to understand something of that. And yeah, half a years ago, I had my introduction from corporate finance by Professor Manish, things like that. I want to be one of the elites in Wall Street.
You want to be what?
One of the elites in Wall Street. I want to find a job.
You want to be an elite on Wall Street?
Yeah, yeah. But however, I feel that after 1,000 applications, yeah. But right now, I found an internship for school, NYU. I work at OGS and student employee, so yeah, which is great. And
secret?
Yeah, a secret of mine. I was an athlete for swimming for 16 years in China.
You represented China?
Yeah, yeah.
At the Olympics?
No, but I had a picture with Michael Phelps. He was my.
That's great. Huh?
Did you catch any fish?
I caught a few, and I released them. I don't want to kill them. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Su. Miles?
My name is Miles Kaufman. I went to GW. I thought I wanted to go to law school. Worked at the DA's office, didn't like it. Ended up at Estrich and Company. I did about $1 billion debt and equity on the commercial mortgage brokerage side. Want to go more into private equity, distressed debt. Yeah, done Tier 1, Tier 2. Almost towards the end. Finish line's May 2020. And secret. I know a lot about Amazon. I don't know why, but I just started reading a lot about the company. Know a lot about them. If you type in relentless.com, that's what they originally were supposed to be called, and he actually kept the domain, and it actually redirects to Amazon. Relentless. That's what he originally wanted to call it, and it is. So.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you. How about Victor? What's your secret?
I did one of those heritage tests recently. Apparently I'm 5% Neanderthal, which is a humongous.
5% Neanderthal. That's great. That's great. Austin?
My interest in real estate began because there was a building at my undergraduate campus named after Richard Lefrak, and that's why I wanted to go into development.
Okay. Any other words? Who did not share the secret? Yes, Alvin.
So, I thought of one. I was inadvertently on academic probation for 7.5 years.
What a medal of honor.
because my last semester of college, my grades put me in academic probation, and I didn't know. And then when I applied to SHAC, I was accepted conditionally. So that whole time, technically.
Well, if you don't know you're on academic probation, there is a good reason to be on academic probation. No? Direct correlation. But thank you for sharing that. Who else? Anybody else? Okay, fine. So that's the next one. Professors are excluded from this. Okay. All right. So a little bit about me. I have taught here since 2011. This semester I'm teaching 5 courses. I can teach 2 more, but they think I'm crazy. I can't, and I could do 2 or 3 more easily, no problem. My background is I'm an architect by training. I have a deep interest in the urban fabric. I have deep interest in philosophy. I have deep interest in a lot of things, including making fun of you all guys as we proceed through the class. Okay? So I came here in '92 to study. Came here to study architecture. I had no idea what finance was, what real estate was, nothing to do with money. And then I took a course with one of my former professors. You all will have the opportunity to meet him. His name is Todd McGrath. And you'll meet some other professors also, my former professors. Hopefully you'll get that chance. And then I took a course with him and I just fell in love with finance. I practiced architecture, I built buildings, but had no idea that there was this other side of me, which was my secret, which came out because I just fell in love with finance. Ended up on Wall Street, worked for many years, doing capital markets, doing mergers and acquisitions, worked with a guy called Bruce Wasserstein. I don't know if you've heard that name. He did Barbarians at the Gate. Anyone read the book or heard of the book? Or a movie? So he was the prime banker for CS First Boston in Barbarians at the Gate. So there I did several transactions, including real estate, hospitality, technology, media, telecom, financial services, insurance companies, bought and sold investment banks, sold a part of D.E. Shaw. Jeff Bezos used to work there with D.E. Shaw, and that's where he went to start his show. Sorry?
He was there for a little bit.
Yeah. And one of my classmates, poor guy, a very, very brilliant guy. He was doing PhD in material science at MIT. And he ended up going and running IMDb, which is the Amazon's movie business. And there was another guy, when we sold the business, he's the right-hand man for Bezos now. So all these are basically nerds who are running that show. And then I've taught here since 2011. I have taught a whole variety of courses. I used to teach the finance capstone, and then decided, I could teach the finance capstone, but it's a little bit. How many of you are in finance capstone? I won't say that. It's a little boring. So that the architect element in me came out, and I wanted to teach the development capstone because, for obvious reasons, as we go through this course, we'll figure out why I say that. I've taught at Columbia in the master's program, and I teach at MIT also. Last semester I taught a course at MIT, and next year also I'll teach a course. Very distant version of this course. Okay. Now, that's my email address. My office is 509 room B. My cell phone, don't use my cell phone. If you want to come see me, there's no obvious reason to come see me anyway. But if for whatever reason, boyfriend, girlfriend problem, come see me. And I have an open door policy, walk in. But send me an email, I prefer that, so I can find time. We can have, hopefully this course is going to be very rich. I really enjoy this course the most of all the courses because there is a lot of latitude and freedom. And it allows you all your creative juices to come together in very unique ways where it doesn't happen in real estate finance because you're dealing with the nitty-gritty and it's very creative as well, real estate finance. But you will realize hopefully as we go through this course. And then corporate finance and portfolio and risk management and what else? What else am I teaching? FIA and the global development capstone. Okay. Of all these courses, I think this course I enjoy teaching the most. So the way I have designed this course, and this has evolved over a period of time. For a little bit, I taught this course for a couple of semesters with David Hirsch. We used to get Blackstone. Do you know David at all? He was a Senior Managing Director in the Asset Management Group, and he's a graduate of this program. And he retired, and so he's teaching, I think, something else. Anybody is a Hirsch Scholar here? Apparently there are some Hirsch Scholars, so David Hirsch, named after David Hirsch. He's the same guy. So the way this course has been designed is fluid. It's for those who are seeking advanced level intellectual competency in ways to critically think about complex development and investment issues, both in the international as well as in the US context. If you look at the international context and if you understand the international context, the US becomes a subset, right? So where you can go wrong, you test it by investigating the international context. And we will see through the progression of this class how that works. We will address a range of issues related to a variety of unique real estate investments. This course is designed by you. It is not designed by me. Very shortly, you all will design this course. What are the themes and the topics you will cover? I will offer you somewhere between 50 to 60 topics that we can deal with. And then you will pick as many as you want. I have no life, so I can do this class session on Thursday evening. I can do it Friday. I can do it, unfortunately this semester I cannot do it for the first 7 Saturdays. I cannot do it because I'm teaching another course. But Sunday I can do it. And I can do it on Tuesday, depending on everyone's availability. We'll work with everybody's availability. And the extra sessions that will happen are all optional. Those of you who absolutely cannot make it, you cannot be forced, okay? So the priority discussions we will have, we will keep for Thursday. The additional discussions where you can pick and choose whether to come to class or not, those will be on the additional extra days. Is that okay? But typically students who come on the extra days, they find it sometimes even more enriching than the Thursday class, right? So it aims to build upon your existing knowledge from your previous courses, a combination of real estate finance, corporate finance, development process, global real estate markets and investments, and FIA. How many of you have taken FIA?
What is FIA?
Finance and investment analysis. That's not a required course for the development track, but the way I've designed this course, I've tried to capture the best elements of several courses, including private equity, including FIA, including entrepreneurship and innovation. And we will see how. And obviously international. The course has been structured for flexibility and will focus on a variety of real estate transactions. And our approach will be multidisciplinary, not one-dimensional, multiple dimensional, because that's how the real world works. Each session is unique. The emphasis of the course is less on the continuity of the themes, right? So you will not find any sequential. If you're looking at, if you're in this course to think, there should be a sequence of knowledge. I think those courses you have already taken. Now you're at a point of time where you will look at different transactions and you will investigate all those transactions for their own uniqueness. Yes, Miles? And it's more focused on the richness of the critical investigation of a variety of transaction situations, as I said, that may or may not have interrelated pedagogical objectives, but they yet offer uniquely rich analytical dynamics and frameworks. A lot of words in there, but looking at transactions in multiple different ways. We could bring in some guest speakers. I am trying to get the recent head of ADIA, who's just retired, to come and talk to this class about how, ADIA, has everyone heard of ADIA? Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. They're one of the largest sovereign wealth funds. Let's see if he's promised me he'll be here in the fall to teach a session, so obviously we'll bring him here to talk about how these guys think about portfolio. Large allocation of capital. Okay. And then we'll decide who else to bring, depends on their availability, and perhaps we can bring the topmost architect from India who's designed a lot of several buildings across the country. His father was also a very well-known architect. His name is Dikshu Kupreja. He'll be here in November, so if he's here, we will invite him to speak to you guys, right? To see what's happening anywhere. There are prerequisites for this course. Some level of competency in financial modeling. How do you feel about your financial modeling skills? How many, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many of you are 10? Almost, 9.5. Or 10.5?
I'd like to fix that.
No. There is a gap between you thinking and your realistic. It's 10?
Yeah, it's probably 10.
That's good, so you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. How about 9? 8? 7? 6? 5? 4? 3? 2, 1. See, modeling is not a prerequisite for this course. There are some case discussions we will do which will require modeling solutions, financial modeling solutions. So the way I handle this in this course is, this is not a modeling course, right? The Institute of Fashion Technology is next door. This course is about figuring out the architecture of how to think about the solution. And I will give you the solution. If you are determined, you will go and take that solution and build it in Excel. Build your own logic and try to investigate and prove that logic by yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. And if you really want to get the most out of this course, you will definitely do that. There are some of the transactions where you're not even prepared for how to think about that. If I just leave you and you'll be wasting time. So what I do is I give you my framework. You go home, you can work with that framework to develop the model because you have the solution. And from there, you pick up the logic, and if you have any questions, you can always come and ask me, and I will help clarify that. By the end of the semester, hopefully you will be able to understand the framework of real estate investing, both in the international and domestic context. You'll be able to articulate risks and other qualitative considerations of complex development projects and investment projects as well. Understand the general framework for calculating cost of capital. Most of you are familiar with cost of capital, right? But mostly in the domestic sense. And that's where it comes alive. Cost of capital and weighted average cost of capital comes alive when you look at it in the macro global sense. Okay. Again, multidisciplinary understanding of issues involved in a variety of transactions, particularly the application of some unique techniques. Some of the case studies will be extremely technical, but I'll try to explain to you in simple ways, right, the underlying principles behind the solutions. And you'll be fine with it. I've taught this course so many semesters, the students are usually fine. And compare and contrast the qualitative and quantitative dimensions of a variety of complex transactions. We should be able to critique the broader economic implications, impact of the specific real estate transactions discussed in the class from a transaction risk standpoint. Apply these critical tools from this course in some form of product that you will produce by the end of this course. There will be an assignment. And hopefully everything, the multidimensional things that you have picked up will all come through in an assignment. And you will pick your own assignment. I will give you 3 frameworks for the assignment, and you pick one of those or maybe combine a couple of those. I'll share with you shortly. There is no required textbook. But from time to time, I provide you with some reading. This is a tradition I'm very grateful to have inherited from my professors. My professors, they always gave us some reading materials. And over time, those reading materials have become really priceless. Some of the things that they were sharing at that time has won Nobel Prizes now, right? 10 years later, 12 years later. So, attendance is mandatory, will be a part of your final grade. Be regular and punctual to class. If you, for some reason, cannot attend the class session, the regular class session on Thursday, just send me an email, please, so that you cannot come for whatever reason, right? maybe go fishing with Sue or some whatever. But as you would have noticed here in this attendance sheet, there is an allocation for attendance in your grades. And there is excused absence and unexcused absence. You want to be on the excused absence side, because if you have more than 2 here, it starts to add up on your grade. Okay? And do not be late to class. Please be on time, because if you're on time, we just get started. That's what I just said. It's important that each of you actively participate in the course. What does that mean? That means being prepared with the readings when you come to class. If you can't read anything else, at least read the case study. Is everyone familiar with the case study method? Who has never had a case study method before? Everyone has had? Okay, so I'll give you a list of questions for every case study. So when you read the case study, you will go through the questions and try to form a view in your mind and articulate in 1 or 2 pages at the most, in bullet points, your thought about the question, which would be derived from what is in the case study, right? That is your every Thursday's assignment. Some assignments will have, hold that thought. Some assignments may require some modeling. You will attempt the modeling, but you will not be able to, several of these assignments you will not be able to solve. I will solve it for you, but if you've already made an attempt, then you will see the gaps between that, and maybe you can take the solution and continue to build a model. Yes, Mr. Su?
Is there standardized answer for the case study? Because sometimes I want to compare my answer with the...
I will give you the solution. There is no standardized. It's a class for thinking, right? This is a time where you have to become creators. You have been the ones who have been taking the medication, do the real estate finance works this way. There are certain principles you have to follow. If you are lucky, somebody helped you understand what was the underpinning of why we do certain things in a certain way in finance, in corporate finance, in risk and other risks. But this course is more fluid. It is, it requires your imagination, your thinking, as if you were on, you have to deal with in real life. A lot of the case studies will be like that. Okay? You will combine the practical with the theoretical, and from therein you will form a body of knowledge which you will accumulate for yourself. If you are diligent and you come prepared to each class session, it will be valued by your friends, by your classmates, right? Your quality of your thought will matter. The quality, you've come here so far. Many of you, I haven't seen where you come from. Some of you have taken courses with me, so I know about you. But from now, your work you do, the quality of thought you imbibe or you add to this group discussion will tell you and me and all of us where you are going from here, right? So be diligent. Use this course as something valuable, and it will be to your benefit. Okay. Who cannot stay away from their iPhone or their phone for 2.5 hours? Everybody can? Now that's the secret. That's the real secret each of you have. Okay, so I don't just put the phone away. Do you want a break in the class? 2.5 hour class? You want a break? We'll take a 5-10 minute break in the middle. Okay, and you'll have to leave it to my discretion when to take the break based on the flow of the class. So you can look at your emails at that time. Okay. Homework assignments, you will be expected to submit thoughtful written responses in bullet points only. I don't want you to write 15-page stories in response to those questions. Bullet points, not more than 2 pages. Maximum 2 pages. 1 page is still better. But if you have a case discussion which requires some thoughtfulness, but you don't spend more time thinking about the logical structure of how to analyze something, the technical part of it. All homework assignments should be submitted on time. Late assignments will not be graded, and you will automatically get a 0. So what this means is, those of you who have taken the courses with me before, your first submission should be on time. If that is not on time, you get a 0, right? But once you have submitted your assignment and you want to, after the class discussion, go back and improve and upgrade it, I should never penalize you for that. In fact, you should be rewarded for that effort. So what I will do is I will grade each of your assignment the final version of it after you have had a chance to improve. So before the class starts, for the discussion that we'll have on that day, please submit your assignment on File Exchange. Does everyone know about, who doesn't know about File Exchange? File Exchange is a menu folder within NYU classes where you can submit your assignment. So create a folder with that day's assignment title and park your answer there. And if you want, you can also submit paper copies to me before the class starts. This is optional. Submitting online is mandatory, okay? Because you can date and time your submission. So if there is any problem, you can come back to me and say, you know what, I'm wrong. Make sure you have your name, the project name, and the date of the submission on each of your assignments. Now, because this is not a course that goes from, sequentially, you may need to be a little flexible. It takes me about 2 to 3 weeks to fully solve a discussion. And you can imagine I've solved 50 to 60 to 70 discussions. So I have enough body of material. But if some of you identify something unique and perhaps I can go out and fetch it, get it, maybe it'll take me some time to solve it. And in that case, you may vary from the sequence that we will have decided, right? Any change to the course schedule will be announced in the class. It's your responsibility to be informed about it. So make sure you make friends, and friends who are loyal. Sometimes you never know in real estate. So main assignment, there are 3 alternatives, as I said. Okay? And each one of you will start thinking about your assignment. The first alternative is an in-depth research, a critical analysis, and a synthesis of design, development, investment, or any real estate related topic that is of interest to you. Something that is hiding deep inside your psyche, you've always felt it, but you never had a chance to express it. This is your chance. The question you wanted to investigate, why this happened in a certain way. And it could be a question of law related to real estate, it could be a question of design related, it could be a question of urban planning, it could be a question of material form, it could be an expression of anything. Tying a movie to real estate, tying literature to real estate, tying poetry to real estate, any kind of metaphor to real estate. You have full freedom, provided you can articulate the logic why you want to do it. And that's where it comes in creativity, because if you can imagine, being creative is what? Combining things from different ideas together to create something new. And everything exists. Your genius is to be able to capture them and combine them to create something new and make the world think differently about a certain thing. It could be a very simple thing. You know, the wheel was invented. When was the wheel invented? So you must know. It was invented like 5,000 years ago, right? The chariots of Bactria in Kazakhstan or Tajikistan. First recorded Sumerian culture in Mesopotamia. It took 5,000 years for the wheels to come to your airport baggage now, right? It takes a long time for simple ideas to make profound influence over time. And that is your genius. If you can think about existing ideas and question why these are not being applied, and investigate that, and research on it. And here, take up some, it should be fun, it should not be a chore. If it is a chore, it is not a project. You will not be happy, I will not be happy. It should be fun. And those of you who are going to do either the finance or the development capstone, and if you want to enrich your capstone, how many of you are doing the development capstone this semester? Yeah, you are also, you're the finance capstone.
Finance.
How many of you are doing it next semester? Development capstone next semester? Finance capstone next semester? Okay, doesn't matter. This will propel you into thinking about what capstone you may be interested in next semester. Finance guys, I'm so sorry. You know, but the development guys, you have more flexibility in the projects you choose as part of the development capstone. So what you can do is think about what you would want to, you know, again the same principle as to you would enjoy to do a development capstone. You're taking an idea which is hiding deep in the crevices of your psyche and you want to create an artifact out of it. Magic. Hold it. And if you can use this project as the scaffolding for research, which that can then get tied into the capstone project and make your capstone project richer, you'll feel good and your project will look good and you'll do extremely well. Your capstone project is the bridge between this program and your future professional life. At least it will help you in getting your first job. Second job, I don't know. Third job, I don't know. Huh? But the first job can be very challenging sometimes. So if you go in there having an idea which is so powerful and you can articulate the idea in a way that only you can, and let the other guy, you know, the greater the difference between your knowledge and the other person's understanding, and if you change the way they think about your project and help them understand what you have done, forget the job, you've designed a career for yourself. You should not be looking for jobs, you should be looking to design your careers. Okay? That is what young people are for. And this is the time to do it. So use this as a bridge between your capacity here. There is no wrong project. There is no wrong idea. I will help you. As weird the idea may be, I will help you. I'm a crazy guy. Okay? And we will find some path out of it. And yes, Isaac.
Okay. Does it have to be, say, one transaction or something that's sort of finite in time? Or can you take an asset or a piece of land or a building?
You could do that.
And take it over its life even if it's still existing?
Yes, you could do that. You could even take a project that you are doing for your capstone.
Right.
But you're doing is coterminous, right? So my suggestion to those who want to do it coterminous is use this as a research to amplify what you're going to do in your capstone. That will help you. I don't want you to, you know, do overlap, right? So using the same project for the other course doesn't help you. But you make the other project richer because of what you're doing here, right? And you have three options. This is just one way to do it, the research work. But those of you who are doing capstone next semester, you can use this as a test time to test your capstone idea. That'll be fine with you. Where else would you go get free advice, pre-capstone, and then take it to the capstone and make it even richer, right? So just a thought, don't have to do it. And your final work product for this research project should be treated like a professional paper and presented in the form of a high quality professional final report. That would be the expectation, 25 to 40 page report. I'm happy to show you some of the very high quality work that has come out of this class in the past semesters, okay? Now that is alternative one. Alternative two is a little bit more abstract. What I ask or offer you is come up with a metaphor and connect it with material. Some abstract metaphor with the material. Because when you are doing development, what is that you are doing? You are translating an idea into a formal structure. Material behaves is at your service, is your servant if your idea is rich. So amplify, expand your idea, the quality of your idea. Make it so powerful, and the way to do is using metaphors. Okay? Metaphors liberate you from materiality and then come back to design materiality and create materiality in ways which will be so unique. Like the Frank Gehry's buildings or some other wonderful architect's buildings or something new. Provided you can connect, and this in my view is the highest quality intellectual effort you can do, even more than the research work, because this requires imagination. There's a lot of people who can do research, who can get data, who can run the data, right? Statistics, all that is good. But this is pure imagination. Combining the liberal arts with the technology of putting a building together, you have done magic. That's what Steve Jobs was, right? Combination of technology with liberal thinking of design. Yes, Maria? What this means?
This whole alternative.
Why are you confused? Tell me. What is it confusing about it? Everything? Sorry? An example? Ah, sure. So, let us say, have you heard did you see the movie Invictus? Invictus, you should see. Maria, what are you doing? You should definitely see Invictus. It's a movie about Nelson Mandela, his life. And when he was in prison for 27 years, there was one poem that inspired him and gave him the strength to fight every day. That poem is called Invictus. The movie is about that poem. Somebody wrote that poem, and a poet writes a poem because it's an amalgamation of words and your emotion. That's why poetry comes alive. What prose cannot do, poetry does, because poetry has feeling in it. Right? Words are just an embellishment around the feeling. That is what poetry is. Every building should be like that. If you imagine your building that way. So, then you take Invictus, right? And then you say, what do I do with this? Well, what is it about Invictus that inspires you? What is it about Van Gogh's poem, painting, The Starry Night, that inspires you? What are the qualities embedded in it? Extract the quality and say, how can I take these qualities and what kind of a formal structure will invite those qualities? Is it the geometry of the form? It is the material of the form. It is the layout of it, right? That kind of a thinking. And even if you have taken baby steps, it's very powerful. You will become, when you start out, you read alphabets, right? 26 alphabets. This whole universe and the world that we have created as human beings is based on 26 alphabets. Entire structure of our civilization is 26 alphabets. Some languages have more, right? How many in Chinese? Mandarin? Don't know? That's not a good sign. Anyway, few alphabets, right? From the alphabets comes words, from the words come sentences, from the sentences come paragraph, from the paragraph comes chapters, from chapters comes books, from the books have limitations. But when you start putting your emotion into it, then you come alive to poetry, right? Because poetry is your own sensitivity and sensibility that goes into it. And matter is nothing but it acquires the property of the emotion that you have into it. Every development project should be thought that way. All great developers think that. It's not what they build or the money they make. All money you will make. I'll teach you how much money to make. Money making is not complicated. What is complicated is for you to come out of this and say, you know what, I am this developer and that building is mine and the world celebrates your building. That's how it should be. If you set your aspirations high, everything will work high with you. Okay, towards that goal. So, and I will help you through this process. For some of you, this is very abstract. You don't want to be that ambitious, that's okay. For you, this actually, before I move on, this helps you on your capstone project. Imagine starting your capstone project presentation and saying, you know what, my inspiration is Invictus. And this building is a reflection or a material manifestation of Invictus. And then you explain why. Because you're taking the qualities, pouring the qualities around the formal structure, the shape and the form and the material, right? And the spaces and the distribution of spaces. And the light and the void and the everything. So you've got to think about it differently. That is alternative two. Yes, Alexander?
So is this going to require more drawing or sort of
You don't have to be an architect to do this. What I want to see is the power of your idea, what you were able to connect, why you were able to connect, how you understood the qualities. And if you draw it with your free hand and you identify and put a dot and say this is what it means, that is much more valuable to me than a precise drawing. I want to see where your mind comes from, where your ideas come from, and the quality of your ideas. Okay, then you can hire an architect. You will tell an architect, when the architect will be surprised, you know what, Alexander is telling me how to do this, and look at his quality of his thoughts. That's where you should get to. Yes, Maria? Anybody? All right. Alternative 3. Here, those of you who are very pragmatic minded but want to be entrepreneurs, you can explore developing a business plan and a business idea, a new venture idea, which tangibly touches in some form of fashion real estate. You know, just don't do design under Amazon.com, right? Which is fine, but how it benefits in some form of fashion real estate. Although I am not that close-minded to not consider another Amazon.com. But those of you who want to be imaginative, have an idea, want to develop it further, I've done a lot of technology banking and I've seen lots of entrepreneurs come up with different ideas. I will help you there. Think through it. Maybe an approach for you to take would be to come up and imagine as if you're entering a competition, business plan competition, and you want to come up with business value proposition, the revenue model, the operating model, understanding the risks, understanding the sustainability of that. A product is not a business. Okay? You can develop the best product or best service, but you have to question whether that is a business. Here you're developing a business plan. So you have to think about how to scale it up, how the factors of production will combine, how can you convert it into a business, right? And this is a wonderful place for you to be critiqued. Okay, so that is the other flexibility, and you have time. In the next couple of weeks, you can decide, come chat with me, and it always works out fine. So the thing that I would be a little unimpressed with is if you limit your imagination. Limiting your imagination doesn't mean that you know it's something so weird, unless if you really want to go that abstract, then solve a physics problem. That's okay with me. But you know, there have been people who have done lunar modules. If you were to design a colony on the moon as a real estate developer, what would you do? That's all okay, because you're now engaging in different concepts. If you were to design a home inside a pyramid, a traditional pyramid, how would you carve? What would that quality of the building look like? So all the imaginative things. But here would be a business plan. So you have a wonderful product which has a unique value proposition, and we will see the logic of how new businesses come about. And there are certain things you have to do if you really want to conquer the world of business. It is not on the other side. You have to be on the far end of the bell curve. You cannot be in the center. Everybody who's in the center has a 9-to-5 job. The more you're close to the mean, you have a 9-to-5 job. The little further away from the mean, you have like a 8-to-4 job. The further away you are, you work 4 hours a day, but you have your imagination, you came up with the idea, you got a tech guy if you need one, and you put it together, and you have 100, 200, 5,000 people working for you. Okay, so stretch your imagination. Think about the business plan. You could do, we will, as part of the investigation in one of our case discussions, we will see how the business models have changed from the traditional linear model, which was profit-loss based, to more platform-like structures. Are you familiar with platform-like structures? No? We'll see. Well, that will be a fundamental transition for you. How business works differently. Okay, nowadays, because with technology as the enabler. And you're never innovating when you are in the mainstream of things. You're always innovating when you're thinking, what, as Steve Jobs said, those are the guys who are the crazy ones, who think why something should be when it is not. So you have to, and that requires imagination. So this project will allow you to do that. Find a problem to solve and create a business out of it if you want to. Otherwise, you have the other two options. Okay? So next step, let me circulate this. This is a guidance for the synopsis of your first assignment. Pass it along. One, two, three, pass it along. Sorry? Yes, for what? The file? This is all on NYU classes, and the password is the very celebrated R capital S capital space space. Okay.
It's the password below.
For both the files that are online under NYU classes in the resources menu. So the introductory slides are there. Okay. So take a couple of weeks to develop your idea, struggle with it, fail with it. If you don't fail now, when will you fail? It's okay to fail. It's okay to be vulnerable. You can do it with your family, with the ones you love, and with your professors. We are here to save you. And follow the guideline that has been given to you. At the end of all this, you will have to submit a 25 to 40 page professional quality report with findings. If you have a business plan, I don't mind if a business plan is 15 pages, that's okay. I'm not so rigid about 25 to 50 pages. But if you're doing a research report, then it should be well cited, well researched, in-depth research, not just taking data from different people and putting it together. The thought has to be yours and it has to be original. How do you connect the information in ways that you are seeing in a different light? That is the purpose of research. Work on your project independently and thoroughly. You can consult with each other, anyone, and you can consult with anyone in Shack or outside of Shack. This should, I would be really happy if this becomes a part of your next 3 months and you come up with something valuable out of it. Grades, don't worry about grades. This is an advanced elective. Okay? Unless you really screw it up, it's going to be a problem. I'll let you know if you screw it up, and you will see your peers will let you know when you make a presentation that you have screwed it up. Attendance 5%. Homework case analysis is 15%. Distributed equally across all case studies except one. Those of you, and this case study is called Wildcat. How many of you, maybe when we go through it, we'll do it. Hold that one. Quality of class participation 20%. Don't be shy. In some cultures, being shy or difference to the sensei is a good thing. It's okay to, it's a battle of ideas. Let's celebrate ideas. Imagine, all the pain in this world comes when you're caught and trapped in the materiality of things. When you can free yourself from the materiality and live in the world of ideas, goes away all the pain. It's the beautiful world that artists experience, that creators experience, great developers experience. Try to get to that place. Class participation, thoughtful. Raise your hand, I will call on you. I know all your names now. So I will remember where you sat, in what table, and what date, what's your middle name, what's your dad's name, what's your mom's name, what's your social security number. I know everything. Come prepared, thoughtfully engage, challenge the other person's idea, but do it respectfully. Wait for your turn. Main assignment, stage 1 presentation will be 10%, so and stage 2 will be the other 50%. So 60% of your grade is that main assignment. And I've split it into 2 stages because at the first stage you will make a preliminary presentation to everyone, where you will test your assignment of how you thought about what is your project. And you will get the critique, you will take it, and you will further enrich it and go deeper into it afterwards. And your final report will be the rest of it. Is that okay? Yes, Nick.
Is this stage one right here? Like when we're doing a presentation in 2 weeks, or?
No, that's not
Or
stage one.
later on?
Stage one will I'll announce. Yeah. Stage one will be before Thanksgiving, just before Thanksgiving.
This is just regular homework.
This is regular assignment. It will take a couple of weeks to, figure out what you need, okay, what you want. Just take a walk in the park. When you're by the trees, in the solitude, the nature, you start realizing when you are with nature, nature speaks to you. All the time your mind and eyes and your senses are trapped into material things. Nature never gets a chance to speak to you. So take a walk, sit quietly, think about it, go deep within you and figure out what is that I would enjoy doing, what kind of a project I would leverage. Right? In your own image, celebrate your own image. Most of the world is celebrating other people's images. Do you see all these pop stars and all the fan clubs? You don't want to be the fan, you want to be the pop star. That should be the ambition. Okay, and that ambition should be driven by your idea. All the discussions that we will have here, you will design this course, will be posted on the Harvard Business School website, which I will email you the link to, and you can purchase the materials there. I will sequentially populate based on the sequence of case discussions we will have. I keep adding every week, okay? And you can buy it here. As I said before, from time to time, I'll give you other reading materials. Finally, please ask questions or clarify concepts. There are no silly questions. You will only enrich. I want this class has been magical in the past, there have been such rich, deep discussions. Sometimes you don't even get those discussions at SHAC. So this is a whole different ballgame to make this class rich. I'm always there to be of help. The only way to the success of this course is your success. I have nothing to do with it. I will help you. I'm just an enabler. Your success I want to celebrate. Okay? There is no greater joy for a teacher than to see their students do 100 million times better than them. You will only do it if you celebrate yourself. All right, questions? If no questions, do you want a break now, or should we go through the case discussions and after that we take a break? Let's go through anybody wants a break now?
I'm okay.
Okay. And we have to do a couple of things also. We have to go through these cases that we will discuss. And I also want to work with you through the calendar. Which days are preferable to you for the extra sessions? Does Friday work for anyone for the extra sessions? Who it does not work for? Negative. We are negativa. Who Friday doesn't work? Friday evening doesn't work. Even if we do Friday evening. Why? Party time?
Yeah, party time.
Friday doesn't work?
Friday day.
Friday day? Who does Friday day not work for? You guys who are working. Yeah, okay, understood. How about Saturday evening? I would have taught 2 sessions in the morning, but Saturday evening I can do the session from, let's say, 4:30 to 7. Doesn't work?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Okay. What about Sunday? Sunday works? Sunday morning? This is a great opportunity for you to be fed from a fire hose. Every discussion is beautifully rich, right? So you will miss it at your own peril. So you have to get something, you have to make some sacrifice. Huh? Maria has to wake up in the morning. Very difficult. I know that. Because of the realistic finance class. You were not present, I still remember, in any of the extra sessions.
Do you typically or schedule an extra session? Is it on Thursday? You'll tell us for that weekend, or can we schedule them a couple of
I'll send you the whole schedule.
Because I go home probably 1 weekend a month, so we find it on Thursday.
Sure, if you're missing something, or if you really want to be there for that particular session, we will accommodate you. Okay? Yes, sir.
Is it automatically, let's say we pick Friday, then it's gonna be Fridays, or can it some weeks be this or that? Cause I have.
It can be
like-
flexible.
Cause I have a dog.
I have
a
no life.
girlfriend and everything.
Sorry?
But I have a dog, a girlfriend, I believe.
See, you have everything, I have no life, my
No,
friend.
but it's just sometimes.
I think weekends are better than weekdays. Some of us work.
So Sunday morning is the best. The only problem with Sunday is, in the past classes, people have always shown up on Sundays. And those of you who can't show up on Sunday for whatever reason, there is no penalty upon you, right? And we understand. But the only problem is that class session will be 7 East 12th Street. We can't have it here because Midtown Center is closed. Okay?
What time will it be on Sunday?
What time do you want? You wake up at 1? Yeah.
10?
Yeah, 10 to 12:30, perfect. Yes,
11.
Cyrus?
11?
10's a little.
But then it's the
Eats
middle of
into
the
your
day,
day.
it cuts everything in half.
Your morning and your.
But you know, Cyrus will wake up at 10:45, so he can do it. I'm glad he's even awake right now. I can understand.
I like long Saturday nights.
Sorry?
I like long Saturday nights.
Saturday nights.
Yeah. Getting up at 10 or whatever. We'll do it. I'll be there.
You'll be there.
Yeah.
So let's do 10. Right? Let's do 10. Sunday 10 a.m. to 12:30. Is that okay with everyone? Who does it not work for absolutely? Oh, wonderful. So Sundays 10 a.m. to 12:30. 7 East 12th. Oh, this makes it very good.
Every Sunday? Or alternative Sundays?
No, not this Sunday, but starting the next time. Or I don't have to do this, guys. I don't have to do this only if you want it. So let's go through the list and we figure out, right? How many updated syllabus has been posted. So you must have seen this updated grading reflected there. Okay, one. Because we have a Hirsch Scholars Program, I have started a Srivastava Scholars Program. So anybody who's in this class will now, you can call on your resume, you can say I'm a Srivastava Scholar. Yes, or?
Can you actually do that?
You could do that. I give you the full authority to do it. Yes. Nobody. What can anybody do to challenge? Srivastava Scholar. You've been through the advanced class. You're a Srivastava Scholar.
I applied.
Huh?
I applied.
You don't have to apply. You just came to the class.
I just got it.
Sorry?
I just got it.
You just got it.
Yeah.
Got into what?
The Srivastava Scholar.
Ah, perfect. You can say. And then, you know, because I would have seen you, and some of you I know really, really well because you've taken 2 or 3 courses with me. I can be your best reference. There is no greater joy in getting people jobs. There is no even greater joy than seeing your student take risk and try and fail and get up and get up again and get up again. Something will work out. Now, I don't really have the dates yet, but let me I may have the dates because mine is my syllabus. Who has the syllabus? Here.
No, the dates are on.
Huh? As part of this course, this select group will be able to participate in an all-day workshop on November 22nd, which is tentatively the date for MIT, NYU, Columbia all-day workshop. This is a joint venture development workshop, one of the most amazing experiences, academic experience and practical experiences you can ever have. So just keep that day aside for now. Nate, you've been to one before?
Yeah, is that one? This one in New York as well?
Yeah, this one is in New York, but this one is different. This is
Yeah,
the,
that was last time was like stress.
yeah, but this one is joint venture development. So this is really, this is the best. Second is the workout workshop, and the third is the loans. You've been to one of those also. What would you say about those workshops?
Sorry?
What would you say about the workshops?
Great opportunity to meet people, and I was still early in the course, but it was still good to.
Yeah, but was it worthwhile, the learning experience? is unparalleled learning experience. When you come out of that one day, you have deep insight into the structure of how deals are done, with a certain focus. Yes, Taylor.
How many of the three will be in Boston?
Sorry?
How many of the three are going to be in Boston?
No, they're not three, only one this semester.
Okay.
We have two in the spring semester and one now.
What's the date again?
Tentatively November 22nd. And then there is a new NYU Capital Markets Conference on November 14th. You can be there at the conference during the day. In the evening, we'll have a class. Okay?
So we will have class.
Unless you don't want to have class.
No.
I'm just trying to squeeze in as much as possible, but if you want to say, you know what, we spend all day at the conference, that's also okay. All right, so let's go through the kinds of discussions we will have. A few of these discussions I will make it mandatory because we'll start the flow of the class. But everyone took this note? Okay. The first we can do, how do you raise an international private equity fund? What are the dynamics of that? Okay. International real estate private equity fund. This is a fund to be raised for the Australian market in the hospitality sector. One option. We'll look at a real estate development project in Brazil by a US developer. We'll dissect that project, the reasons why went in, how they thought about every aspect of the deal. There is some construction involved in this also. This would be a direct investment. You would be investment in a real estate operating company in Latin America. Value investment in a real estate development in London. We can do, are you familiar with TIFs, tax incremental financing? Tax incremental financing as an instrument for urban revitalization in England. TIF financing as an instrument for urban revitalization in the UK. Now, let me ask you, how many of you know how to model a waterfall? Okay, I'm going to put it here for those of you who have not done a waterfall analysis but want to do it, we'll do it. And those of you who have already done it, it will be a good revision for you also. Okay? So, PE, real estate PE, those who have done FIA with me, they don't need to do it, but others, waterfall analysis. Deep analysis of how the whole structure is put and what different ways to think about it. We can do urban revitalization project in the United States, right? Urban real estate or redevelopment project. In the US. we can do a large scale urban development project in China. Large scale urban development project in Japan. Actually, this should be redevelopment, this is development. Project in Japan. We can do a discussion around the mechanics of leasing. How do you think about leasing? Where leasing a property which is in a very tough market environment. How do you think about the different strategies to lease a property? Okay, leasing strategies in a tough real estate market. We can do a distressed hotel investment in the United States. We can do a workout analysis. Is everyone familiar with workouts? Though some of you who attended the workout, you sat in the class before, right? So you may have done it, but you don't need to. But workout of real estate distressed loan. Investing in mortgage versus CMBS security. This is an interesting discussion because it differentiates between the logic of why you would invest in a mortgage tranche or a mortgage loan relative to one tranche of the CMBS security. How do you compare and contrast from the perspective of an insurance company? Okay. Yes, Mr. Shi. No. We can do water infrastructure. Issues and real estate private equity investing in Latin America. We can do, you're developing a high-rise building and the market changes on you. How do you decide whether to stop or to proceed? Okay. Decision making. Or I'll say development decision making in tough market situation. We can do the largest foreclosure in the United States. Largest foreclosure transaction. Who asked? Stay down. it's not just one transaction, it's like 2 to 3 transactions in it, and the logic of each is different. So how that works. Investing in, if you have to make an investment, let me qualify this. Investment decision making. US real estate equity versus European mezz debt. If you have to make this recommendation to your investment committee between these two options, how would you think about it?
I have a question.
Yes.
How much time, or is it not, you don't spend equal time on each subject, do you?
No, 2.5 hours, one session consumed by one.
Each one of these?
Yes. Yes, and I have 70 of these.
70?
Yeah.
Oh, 17. Oh.
70.
Now, this is for the additional classes.
No, this is for, we have to pick from all these discussions. And the priority, after this what we'll do is we'll have a vote. The maximum number of votes will be placed on Thursdays. The second priority will be on the extra classes. And then we will adjust the extra classes based on, if somebody really wants to do it, we'll accommodate them. Right? And they can't be here for a certain day, that's okay. Yes?
Oh no, it's just.
Yes, Kevin.
I was hoping that at some point you could touch on the benefits and negatives of doing a fund versus doing the side part of facilitating assets for investors on a one-off basis.
Yeah, that we will do here. Here.
Okay.
There is a rich discussion here looking at the different options that a company is of raising capital, which involve all those things. We can do a pure development analysis, which, how many of you have done a development analysis? How do you know how development analysis works? You know how development analysis works? Yeah, though we had a brief discussion in the FIA class, but we can actually put a case around it and have that rich discussion again and go deeper into it. Is that worthwhile? Real estate. Most of those who are in the finance track have only done income producing assets. But here we will look at the mechanisms of what happens during the development period. Okay. Real estate, development, analysis. Now, we can do, are you familiar with real options? What are options? Are you familiar with options? Huh?
Options trading?
Yeah, but those are options, financial options. But we will do a case discussion on real options analysis. Real options analysis for development decision making. We can do how engineers and architects creatively think about iconic buildings like the Sydney Opera House, the bird cage in Beijing, and the water cube in Beijing, right? There is a very powerful way to think about the grammar of the structure that puts a building together. And we can do this discussion of the water cube, which is the aquatic facility that was for Beijing Olympics. You see the water bubbles, have you seen in the building? Do you remember? It changes color, the building. It's like water bubbles. And what they did was they took physics and put it into the structure of the building. That's how it became the most efficient structure base. So we can do that. How do I say this? Water cube. in Beijing. We can do a distressed equity or an equity investment by a hedge fund. Hedge fund investment. I'm not going to play all 70 out here. I'll do only the ones that can fill the board. Hedge fund investing in real estate, public company. In real estate distress, public company. We can do hedge fund hostile acquisition of a REIT by a hedge fund. If any of you are interested in farmland investing, farmland investing. In Latin America. Risk measurement in commercial real estate. This relates to where money goes into real estate and different ways how funds manage it and how the return will be managed. Some more technical finance discussion. Risk measurement and management. In real estate, in CRE. We can do a real estate secondaries transaction. Real estate, private equity, secondaries transaction. You know what secondaries is? What is it? Who said? Yeah, in secondaries, one PE fund, when they want to offload the asset, they sell it to another PE fund. So that's a secondary trading of an asset. So because both teams are reasonably smart, how would they go about thinking about that? Because you can sell it to a mom and pop, they'll buy it, you're going to be the winner. But if the buyer on the other side is smarter, as smart as you, then both parties have to give and take. How that logic works. We can look at Victor's country, Germany, distressed loan portfolio investing in Germany. We did real options from a development perspective. We can apply real options to leasing. Application of real options to CRE leases, leasing decisions. We can do sale leaseback analysis. We can do an infrastructure investment. It will also international infrastructure investment. We can do affordable housing development. We can look at a brownfield investment. If anybody is interested in valuation of REITs, we can do valuation of REITs. We can do foreign exchange investing in Brazil. FX investment issues when you invest in a public company in Brazil. A lot of that, although that part we will cover somewhere here also. Yes, Tim.
What exactly are you talking about real options?
Yes, Mike.
You mean like when you're saying real options, you mean like how to analyze multiple possible decisions, like decision making?
Let me put it this way. All of you have done finance, right? And you have done discounted cash flow analysis, present value, right? What is the problem with discounted cash flow analysis? Everybody uses it. What's the problem?
All depend on your discount rate.
Sorry?
All depend on your discount rate.
Yes, it depends on the discount rate. Assuming you even get your discount rate correct, would that be enough? Answer is no. Yes,
Growth.
Miles?
Yeah, growth. Depending on how far you're looking at it, could be all, it's all future, it could be all wrong.
The real world doesn't work like that. When you do a DCF analysis, what is the assumption? The assumption is you are here today, and let us say this is your 10-year pro forma. You underwrote based on today's assumptions, and you underwrote the pro forma. And you made the decision today, and that's the way it will stay forever. But in real life, what happens? You have the option to make some management changes as you go along in response to the situation, right? So capturing the flexibility to manage those decisions. Decisions like what? This is decisions like wait before you start developing a project. Maybe the project would be more valuable tomorrow, right? If you are looking at it one point of time in a DCF today, what happens is you get a negative NPV and your finance theory says you don't do the project. Now, if you incorporate the ability to make decisions going forward, then you could end up with a different answer. And that answer could be the value of the option that you have retained, which you can exercise over time. That's why developers buy options on land. So how do you incorporate that optionality into your decision making is what real options is. and it follows the principles of what finance theory, but this is cutting edge real estate where you take the principles of finance and apply it into the context of real estate, into decision making in the context of whether a company should invest in a land in Hong Kong based on the information given. Does that make sense? It's a powerful tool. I will walk you through how to think about it. And you will be like little nuclear devices, very dangerous after that. So where did that go? Yeah, it's somewhere here. Development decision, that's the one. A private equity fund buying a resort development project, not so interesting, but we can do it if you want. PE fund buying resort. Okay. Performance attribution in commercial real estate. 35. Performance attribution in real estate decision. If you want to do a crowdfunding discussion, we can do that also. I'm sorry, I'm walking back because I don't. Some cases I have a good memory, some other cases I don't. Crowdfunding. You don't want to do WeWork, do you? No, good for you. Should be a case study, why not invest?
Like at half the IPO.
Yeah.
Have you heard Professor Galloway's thing on WeWork?
No, send it to me.
That's good.
Now, if some of you have taken the risk and portfolio course with me, who took the risk and portfolio with me? The 2 of you, 3 of you. But we can do risk and portfolio analysis. How the mathematics works, because at the end of the day, if you're managing some money, how you going to allocate money? And we will not use any of the discussion topics we did before. We can do something different. You go and award. So, portfolio decision making. If you want to look at international REITs, we can do that. Maybe we can look at Singapore REITs. Why you would invest in a Singapore REIT? What are the characteristics you would look for? Investment decision making. We could look at some Chinese companies and their development strategies. Okay. Restructuring of a real estate developer, distressed real estate developer. So this is like a corporate thing. Restructuring. Real estate You can look at different models of other models. Have you heard of generator hostels? Hostel business, like when you traveler hostel business is a big thing in Europe, and now they're starting in the US also. So you can investigate a hostel business. And then you have companies like Inspirato. Have you heard of Inspirato? They have these advertisements on TV now. So it's like a pooled family vacation rentals. Right? So those are different business models. They will not be as analytical because you know what? With a business model you can pierce through all the noise and look at the core of the business model. Who was in Croatia, Kevin? We can do a project, and a waterfront redevelopment project in Trogir in Croatia. If any one of you feel you want to reinforce your valuation skills, we can do a valuation case study. Okay? Real estate, property, and portfolio valuation. How institutions think about allocating capital to real estate. That also goes into the portfolio thingy. So if you want to do it, we can do that. We can do a case discussion on what is called factor investing. You know what factor investing is? Anyone? Factor investing. This can go on and on and on. So we'll stop here. We have enough to keep you more than busy for the rest of the semester. Maria will never go back to work again after this. So let's do the voting. Okay. How do I do this? Go one by one. International Real Estate Private Equity Fund. So of the 20 people, let's say, this is 18. Okay, so let me put double here. Real estate development project in Brazil by US developer. This is mandatory. This is a great discussion because this discussion will lead into how to think about cost of capital, and that will. So I'm making this mandatory. This also very good. No, I said no. I told you there are 4 or 5 I will pick because I know they're right for you. And then you can decide. This is also great. This is great. This is also great. This is great. Well, you can strike it off, right? This is also great. This is I'm going to not put it here. Leasing strategy, stuff real estate market. You know, depending on your view, I can add some arrows, and that's what we decide. Okay, let's go through here. This is good. Real estate operating company in Latin America. Phenomenal discussion. Phenomenal discussion. Trust me, you have to trust. Value investment in real estate development in London. Deep value investors. You can never make money by just investing. The only way to make money is value investing. The Warren Buffett way, the Ben Graham way, and the Seth Klarman way. Has anyone heard of Seth Klarman? Oh, you're not living in this world. this one. Have you heard of the name company called Baupost? Baupost is run by Seth Klarman.
In Boston.
Yes. One of the largest investment managers in the world. And they invest based on philosophy. Seth Klarman, Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, of course, Prem Watsa in Canada, right? There has to be a Canadian in the mix. Otherwise, the world will be incomplete. And what's his name? Howard Marks.
Oh yeah.
All those guys. So this is like pure Seth Klarman. Too bad, when I teach this at MIT, the guys come from Baupost and they help through the discussion. Luckily, I know everything about the discussion. I'm going to share it with you. I can't just invite them here because NYU will not even take them out for lunch. You know. So, what else? How about, so this is done. Waterfall analysis is for those who want to do it. Those who feel very comfortable don't have to do it. But anybody who graduates from this program should know waterfall analysis. Not just the model of it, but the logic of it, why and how it is put together, why things are structured in a certain way. Okay? How the legal way of looking at it intersects with the financial view of the world. This is urban real estate development project. This is a little bit of a distress. It entails some construction problems, and investors have problems, and how do you sort that problem out? This is a US project. Large-scale urban development in China in a city called Chongqing. Yeah. So this case study will tell you everything about how it's crazy. I don't write much, but somehow I just wrote a paper. So of how the differences in the way capital is viewed in China relative to the Western democracies, and how that impacts development. So this is a good case study. That's why I put 2. Okay. This is phenomenal. Phenomenal. This case study will take you the difference between linear business investing and how to apply non-linear ways of looking at investing or development. How to take the non-linearity, and this has big implications of how you, most of what linearity is what? Huh? What's the difference between linear and non-linear? Economist?
One's a line, one's not a line.
Yes, of course, they were very, very smart. But what is the implication for investing? That is the matter, right?
The exponential?
Yes, the implication is different and very profoundly different. Most of the world tries to model the world as if it was linear. That's why all these failures happen. The moment you start appreciating that the world is really non-linear, then you find, trying to figure out how to protect yourself. The person who owns the world is the one who knows how to protect themselves against losses. Not the one who jumps up and makes some money and thinks they're the king or the queen, because inevitably they will fall. The market is brutal. But there are techniques by which you can protect yourself. And this applies not just to the financial markets or the real estate market, but also personal life. Okay, Mr. Su will be very happy with that philosophy. Leasing strategies in tough real estate market, also great. This is a hotel in Chicago. You guys can choose if you want to do it. Not so interesting. Very interesting. Work out of a distressed loan. Okay. Mortgage versus CMBS. Here you will do. How many of you know CMBS analysis, or how CMBS works? Have you modeled it? Okay. So maybe we should do this. Water infrastructure issues in private equity investing in Latin America. It's interesting. But not very technical, but a little bit more qualitative. Okay, so I'll put 1. Yeah. As long as we have what, 20 will be fine, 2022, right? Development decision making in tough market situation, right? This is related to the building called 8 Spruce Street. 8 Spruce Street.
Oh, yeah, the Gary.
Yeah, Frank Gehry building. So this is related to when there was a crash, how do you make a decision whether to continue going higher or not to go higher, right? Yeah.
Is it true that one of the walls, like one of the sides are flat because they ran out of money? It's supposed to be
That we will discuss in the discussion that day, if we do that. So, but I will recommend this. This is phenomenal. This is 3. This is also very good. Investment decision making. Here, you are looking at is as if you are making a recommendation to the investment committee. And the choice is between investing in the equity of a real estate asset versus the mezz debt of a French company. So comparing and contrasting between equity and mezz debt, right? So maybe 2. Development analysis, this is basically foundational analysis as a simple case, but we can open up all the logic of it. So those of you who have never, how many of you have never done a development analysis? Rest of you have done it. Can you model it? How many of you can model a full development analysis?
Like a condo building, not a whole.
Soup to nuts. Yeah. Land acquisition all the way to selling.
Yeah.
You can do it? Okay, so I just put 1 for now, and if we don't need to do it, we don't need to do it. Real options analysis. You want to graduate with some cutting edge knowledge?
Yes.
Yeah? To BS your way through? Water cube in Beijing? Physics you don't want to study, do you?
No.
Okay, fine. Hedge fund investing in private public company, real estate public company, in a distressed real estate public company.
That could be interesting.
Very interesting. Equity investment. Okay, so I'll put 2. Hostile acquisition of REIT by a hedge fund. Phenomenal case discussion. Right. Farmland investing in LATAM. Farmland, you know, there's a lot of investment now going into timber and farmland. So how do you think about farmland investing? You're the consensus one? Okay, so I'll put 1 for Maria. Technical, real estate risk measurement management, technical. Yeah, how many of you for this? If you get the technical parts of it, right, you will not get it outside. When you graduate from here, your boss will not know how to do this. You will never learn this. This is your chance. Okay, so how many of you want to do this? Raise your hand high, please, so I can see. Okay, so maybe 1.5. PE secondaries transaction? No, 1 PE to other, board negotiation, no. Distressed loan portfolio investing in Germany. Victor has not raised his hand, so he cannot do it. Yeah? How many? Raise your hand, please. Interesting case discussion. Okay, maybe 1. Application of real option to CRE leasing decisions. Boring. Sale leaseback analysis. Come on. You think of sale leaseback as a simple analysis. What?
I mean, I used to work for a sale leaseback fund investing, so.
This is about net lease, how the net lease industry came about.
Yeah,
What is the logic of it? So Kevin is not interested, but let me explain so people can understand, and maybe they don't. Sale leaseback is a way for, all sale leaseback, right? What it is? Company that holds an asset wants to monetize it, and they want to sell it and lease it back, so they get cash flows, monetize their asset. And that has spun off an industry which is called the net lease industry. So the logic of that, I think we wanted to do it in FIA, we didn't get a chance to do it. So, but we don't have to do it. International infrastructure investment, I don't know what it is, but maybe, yeah, okay. Affordable housing development in the US, okay, 1. Brownfield investing. Okay, one. Valuation of a REIT. Everyone does it. Everyone, Mr. Shi? Yeah, you also did in. Yeah. Okay, wait. Foreign exchange investment issues. This is very technical. Foreign exchange, how the numbers work.
I just have a question. Will that cover like cross-currency swaps and interest rate swaps?
No, what it will cover is if you are taking capital into Brazil and investing in a Brazilian company, how would you figure out what your exposure is? But doesn't take you into the realm of the strategy that you would apply to mitigate your exposure.
Yeah.
Okay? If you want to do that, we did a case in, how many of your portfolio again, sorry, portfolio class with me? Just 3 of you. There is a case discussion we did there which is about how do you use a swap to diversify your portfolio, right? So a derivative instrument to, so that is an interesting case if you want to do that. How many of you would be interested in that? So maybe one, but that is not even here. 45. This is swaps. Okay. Performance attribution in real estate decision making. This is technical. Sorry. PE fund buying resorts. You are, okay? Your voice came back. You really must feel passionately about this. Okay, I'll put one.
Oh, and the swaps too.
Okay. Swaps 1 or 2?
2.
Beautiful discussion. I would recommend this because it's technical. It's related to how, if you are an investor in a private equity fund or a sovereign wealth fund and you show some returns, how do you trust those returns? If you don't have an insight into the underlying dynamics of that returns or the risk of that return or whether that is real return, chances are you'll make a mistake. Right? So, when I say technical means, it engages your thinking into the depths of how to think about something. This would be useful for that. Performance attribution. Okay. Crowdfunding. Boring. Portfolio decision making. What did I have in mind here? Yeah. So, how do you, if somebody gives you amount of capital, how do you think about allocating that money across, including real estate?
Is this going to be the same thing as portfolio analysis in NYU, or is this going to be?
What NYU?
Portfolio was
The risk class.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do one of those. I can do something different also. I can take a different case discussion with relates to portfolio, some other endowment or something. Okay. Okay, so I put 2 here. This is really good. Singapore REITs, international REITs, 1. Chinese company growth model and development strategies. Okay, so good. 1.5. Restructuring distressed real estate developer, US developer. Okay, so maybe 1.5. Hostel business model. I said it's simple, no, not that. Waterfront redevelopment in Croatia, again a soft case. Right? Soft case you will do, most of your life you will spend doing it. Real estate property and portfolio valuation. This is not the one we did in FIA, it's a different one. But anyone wants to think about, we can do that. Factor investing. How many would do factor investing?
What is that?
That's why the case is to understand what factor investing
I don't know the concept of what it is at all.
It will take me some time to explain. Let me try to explain simply what it means. Okay. People are chasing strategies to invest. And those of you who are familiar with capital asset pricing model, how many are familiar with capital asset pricing model? Okay. What does capital asset pricing model actually do? Those who are familiar. What does it do? What is its purpose? Yes, Miles?
Volatility, yes.
Its purpose is to correlate, to give you there is a dependent variable and there is independent variables, right? The equation for that is this. Expected return is equal to risk-free rate plus beta times market risk premium, right?
Yeah.
This is your capital asset pricing model. Those of you who are not familiar with this, don't be scared. We'll explain when we do this. So basically it is saying, if this relationship is perfect, then you know how much expected return to get from any investment. But more often than not, this relationship is not perfect. And in order to get to a perfect relationship, perhaps there are some other factors. And so on and so forth. Instead of investing like this, if you can spot a factor here that doesn't change, that persists, the price differential persists. The problem with arbitrage is, you know arbitrage? The problem with arbitrage is arbitrage goes away because a lot of people participate in this. But there are some factors that persist. They just don't seem to go away. So if you know what those factors are, you can bet on that. And if you bet on that, reasonably you can make money. Okay? So that's factor investing. How many of you for factor investing? Please raise your hand so I can see. Maybe 2.5. Okay.
What about number 5? You kind of went over that one.
TIF, this is interesting. How many for this? TIF in England? 4, so maybe 1.5. Okay. If somebody feels very strongly about something that we have not dealt with here, please point out. That if we don't do that case study, you're going to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge.
You said something that wasn't on the board?
Yeah.
I just felt a few people seem to be interested in distressed debt.
Yeah, that's the distressed loan portfolio investing in Germany. This is excellent. Okay, this and workout. Workout will tell you how to think, what's the framework to think about working out a loan. And here you will look at the portfolio level, international portfolio level. What else? Those of you who are in the development, you may see some of these equations. Don't be scared. How many of you are in development? No need to be scared. Okay, I'll explain, because if a teacher cannot explain something, what does that mean?
Probably shouldn't be teaching.
No. Absolutely right. But they themselves don't understand. I was at MIT the other day. There was a presentation. Very well-renowned guy comes in and he makes a presentation, and there's a group of students, and I was teaching a class. So I was teaching a professional class. So these are professionals from industry, executive management. And he explains all this theory and beautiful curves, right? And the students ask him, so he asked the students, so what's going on? Do you understand? Why is this working? Well, there's a British guy in there. He says, you just made up the numbers. Can you imagine? So they said, why don't you explain it to us? I can't explain, you look at my paper because it's too technical and mathematical. Doesn't work that way. Yes?
The data course that is sort of new, I forget what the title of it is. It goes through all of the Kaplan formulas and then all of the factors very well, and you get to prove it, and it walks you through coding it. It's very cool.
Those of you who don't want to be coders, at least conceptually you understand. And if you understand conceptually, you can build it in Excel. You don't really have to program. What else? Anything else you feel very strongly about?
This is very interesting. This one, urban redevelopment project in US. Very, very nice project.
Which one is it?
This is the Steel Street. Has anyone done Steel Street? It's in Pittsburgh. There are a couple of guys, cousins. They start this redevelopment project, industrial redevelopment into office.
Harvard Business.
Yes.
Yes, sir,
Yeah. But you will have an exposure to it, Professor Srivastava style. Be different. So maybe I'm going to put 2 here too. Okay? Anything you feel strongly about, anything. So any 2s or 3s are going to automatically get selected. Other ones I'm going to just leave out, right? I'm going to take up any dissatisfied or overly satisfied people. Mr. Sheen, you're okay? Kevin?
I mean, I love to touch on brownfield investments.
Okay.
Now
I'm going to
we'll
put 2 for
affordable
brownfield.
housing.
Affordable housing, okay. This is Via Verde. Jonathan Rose. Anything else?
I think with affordable, I'd like to look at the ESG aspect of it into affordable housing.
Okay, let me add CESG if possible. I can do a separate ESG case discussion if possible. With affordable. Yes, Hugo?
I really like the international infrastructure investment.
Yeah.
Yes.
29.
Number 9?
29.
Okay. Anything else? Take a moment, you've taken notes, which is basically useless. So, yeah, right? You think about what, if anything else interests you. Or something we have more emphasis than it's only 2, you want to make it 3. Yes, Miles?
Number 40, distressed real estate developer, restructuring.
Okay. 2.5. It's almost 9:30. Okay, so I'm going to take pictures of this. We haven't even gotten started yet. Anyway, this was good.
So are we meeting on Sunday?
Not this Sunday. Next Thursday, and then we will next Sunday. Is that okay? Unless you want to meet this Sunday. No, don't go anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Sorry? Can I please go here? Now, next class, we only have 5 minutes, so I don't want to waste. We will go through the framework of how do you think about global real estate investing works. What are the different intersection aspects and what are the ways to think about risk and pricing and demand and supply and how the whole thing works. And the class after that, we will do this case study. We will go, which is the international, this one, in Brazil by US developer, and we will utilize modifications or think about pricing of capital. Let's do right. I'm going to put this in paper, share it with you next time. And if you want to have a little more changes or tweaks to it, we can do that. I will prioritize, make the more important ones regular Thursday class. Within the private equity things that we will do here, you will cover everything that you need for real estate private equity. I guarantee you that. If you do this project on entrepreneurship, you will be able to do the entrepreneurship part of it. Okay? And if we investigate some of the business models here, you can do some corporate strategy or some business model strategy also arising out of this. Now, after the case discussion I just gave you, the second case discussion after that would be this one. Any questions? There is a reasonable trust that I'm going to put this in the right way, right? And we all concluded Sunday, 10 to 12:30, right? I will find a room for us. Any questions? You just designed your course. Next class we will deep dive into stuff. Please read the case study, Heinz goes to Rio. We may not be able to finish that case study. Maybe next class we will get into the global framework. We start on the Heinz and we continue that in the class afterwards, and we go more in the pricing of capital, how to think about country risk, and therefore how to price capital. Okay? Yeah, we're done. Has everyone signed this? Who has not signed this? At least start thinking about the project that you will do. It will save you a lot of grief and time later on. Yes, please. Thank you.
我以为你已经毕业了。
我是 finance